Hi, I'm Stephen Weber, and you're watching The Claw's Corner because Rich Sear is a sick bastard.
Welcome to the latest episode of The Claw's Corner. Today's guest is an actor and producer. His movies include Orchard Beach, Crackdown, The Ungovernable Force, Vamp Bikers, High and Tight, and The Genesis. He is most well known as the war chief of the Orphans in the 1979 iconic film The Warriors. He then transitioned into the music business, working with bands such as New Edition and the Fat Boys. He then went on to be a social worker helping AIDS patients, but is back acting in and producing movies. Please welcome Ramos, King of Queens, the man that made the phrase, "We're gonna rain on you, Warriors," famous. Of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, Apache Ramos. Welcome to the Claw's Corner.
Hey, thank you, Rich. Thank you, Rich. And before we start, I just want everybody to know that you are and forevermore an honorary orphan, brother.
I am a very proud orphan. Thank you.
Just get used to not being invited to places.
Well, as you said many times, the orphans were like the Rodney Dangerfield of gangs.
That's right. That's right. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And I completely shut off everything to do with the record business. The Apache really didn't exist anymore. It was Mr. Ramos. It was my new thing because I didn't know what I was so used to being called Apache my whole life that Greg just didn't sound right, you know. Yeah. So I don't know. My mother never called me Greg, you know. It was just I was always called Apache, but I couldn't, you know. I'm not going to introduce myself as Apache when I'm working in social services, you know. They came out eventually because I have it tattooed on my arm, but you know, I was Mr. Ramos. I like Mr. Ramos.
The King of Queens.
The King of Queens for a while. And then, yeah, I did that. There's so many stories on the AIDS thing around so much courage. You know, people know they're going. Oh, that's what I want to say. The love. I saw true love, you know, growing up as a Latino male, that macho shit, and growing up in the Bronx and all that stuff, that gay thing and all that stuff. It was fairly new, even though I had some relatives, you know, things you had to learn about. And I saw true love, not because of people with the same sex, but just loving one human being after the other. When you wipe somebody's ass, when you take care of them and they just throwing up and you just take care of them, that's real love, man. And then I was, before the domestic partner stuff, meanwhile, that person's mother and father or relatives didn't want nothing to do with them because of their lifestyle and everything. And then when they died, they would come in and take everything away because this person who was taking care of this person to the end. Oh, no.
Oh, I'm still here.
Yeah, I just got to get you back now. Jazz, okay. I lost.
Jazz to the rescue.
No, I think she's. Oh, there you go. I did it myself.
All right.
And then that's when I saw it was just so unfair. They weren't even allowed to go to the funeral. They weren't allowed to go to the hospital. You know, so I was so glad when that domestic partner stuff came out because I saw true love, true courage. I mean, what I remember visiting a client at St. because I had to make home visits and I had to make hospital visits and so much pain that they would be in. Like one time I touched Victor's foot and he screamed in pain. I felt so bad. You know, you just had to maneuver your way through that stuff. And then, you know, the funny stories and all that. But then you could take a day off for two. It's called mental health days. You know, mental health days. You had to take them, but they don't do that no more. Or you would go to the funerals and be the only one there. It would be sad. But I was drinking a lot then. And eventually you take a civil service exam, right? And I'm one of those guys that doesn't do well at tests. So when I was working as an AIDS caseworker, I had a Jewish dad, Mr. Ash, and Mr. Ash, he goes, "You do everything wrong, but you are great at what you do." And he took me under his wing, and he saw my compassion. Yeah. You know, he saw that in, but you got to work within the system, and there's rules set up. There's one time I brought an AIDS baby home. You know, I had a client on a Friday. It wasn't even my client because I couldn't. There was two. I worked with single adults, and then there was another unit that worked with families. I couldn't work with the families because I couldn't deal with the children having AIDS. It was hard enough for me dealing with the adults with AIDS, but people born with AIDS was just too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, this guy comes in and you would do housing and you would call for emergency housing to get people housed. And he came in on a Friday and everything was closed and I was going home. But I had a reputation in the neighborhood there because they knew who I was. And Mr. Ramos, would you take my baby? And I was like, take your baby. He says, could you please take my baby for the weekend? I'm like, I don't know. I don't, I didn't know what to do. And he says, please, I ain't got nowhere to go. And I'm like, fuck. So I took the baby, which I probably would have got fired if anybody found out. But
yeah.
So I bought and then I had to explain to my wife when she opened the door and saw me holding the baby, whose last name happened to be Ramos, which is a popular Latino name, Ramos. Anyways, my daughter wanted us to adopt it, and my neighbors bought clothes for the baby, and it became a big thing. But the baby had a happy ending because he died, but he had a sister who worked for the police department who adopted the baby. I don't know what happened after that, but I would do stuff like that, which you can't do,
Yeah, especially now. I mean, like you said, you would have been fired in a
would have
second.
been fired. Yeah, you can't do stuff like that. But at that time, 2 hours bombing the ninth, the guy is desperate, so I did it. But and then after that, so the civil service exam, I took it after my second year in working because every year I thought I was going to quit and go back in the record business. At that time, I was still antsy for the record business, and then the more time you put in, the more time you realize you're getting a pension, and this is the real deal. So I turned down some deals about going back to the record business because my daughter needed braces, right? So I'm in the union now. I got a union job, a city job. Yeah. So I said, forget about it. I completely knocked off the record business. Never thought about acting again. Just forgot about it. And then I got promoted. And finally, my name comes up for the civil service exam test I took. I'm like on the last page towards the bottom. And finally, my name gets called off the list because your name eventually gets called off the list. So it was like 6, 7, 8 years later, almost 9 years later, I get called off the list. So I go to the pool, and this is like you're a free agent, right? So you're about to be a supervisor. So you go to this pool, and who's in the pool? My Jewish dad, Mr. Ash. He's now a big shot in what you call fair hearing. So I had filled out where I wanted to go, and it says, no, you're not going. I got where you're going. I said, I want to stay with AIDS. He says, your daughter's going to an expensive private school, right? I go, yeah. He goes, you want to make overtime? I go, yeah. He goes, well, you're not going to make overtime, Division of AIDS Services. But I'm committed to AIDS. He goes, well, then volunteer on your spare time. He said that if you want to make money, you're going to come to the fair hearing. Now, I didn't want to go to fair hearing because fair hearing is, okay, how can I say it? Okay, when I was an AIDS caseworker, my clients were glad to see me because they needed me, okay? Yeah. So they were happy to see me. They weren't happy with their diagnosis of being there, but they're happy to see me because they have somebody to help them. The fair hearing is a whole different beast. Fair hearing is enforcing the Welfare Reform Act of 1996, where you have to work for your benefits, okay? So all of a sudden I go from Mr. Ramos to the rescue to Mr. Ramos, the fair hearing supervisor. And so I got sent to the Bronx, the same center I worked with when I started. And the writing job said that I'm the fair hearing supervisor with about 4 other people. And you come to me when you're in trouble. So everybody's not in a good mood when they come and see me. If I can't resolve first you went to a conciliation. They couldn't resolve it, so they send it to fair hearing. They always send it to fair hearing anyways. So if I cannot resolve your situation, you have to go see a judge. And also you're sanctioned. You're sanctioned for 30 days, 90 days, 180 days. So people are very, very angry. So I had to switch up. It was a total switch up from being Mr. Warmth to trying to be the tough guy. Not tough
Yeah.
guy, but enforcing. So
You have to go
every
back to
Monday
being orphan number two.
yeah, my stomach was every Sunday night. I was taking anxiety medication at the time too. I just didn't want to go to work. And then so many times I wanted to quit. So many times.
So how long did you last in that job?
15 years. Yeah.
Wow. Wait, so after you got promoted in civil service, you lasted that long? 15
That's
years?
it. Well, altogether, I got 28 years.
Wow.
So I did 10 with AIDS, and the rest was no, I did one with the Office of Family Services, 10 with the Division of AIDS Services, which is I'm glad I finally got out of there because it was too much. But it's not as bad anymore because people are living now. Just it's living. It was not a death sentence no more.
Mhm.
But at that time, you go to work and you found out this one died, but then you would get another client. So you didn't really have time to, it was just like you had to maintain a caseload, and sometimes the caseload got too big, and it was a tough job. It was a tough.
Well,
job.
even back then, it shows that if you had the money, you can get the proper treatment. Magic Johnson's a perfect example. I mean, he is living and he got it early in the AIDS stages.
That's true. That's
So
true. I
he
had
had
to
the money.
work with. I worked with the Gay Men's Health Center and all the different programs for AIDS people. I would connect my clients and use them. And that was the toughest gigs I ever had, was that time period.
So let's jump ahead a little bit. You retired, and I love this because your daughter got you on the Facebook, and you realized that everybody thought you were dead. So
Well, no, not that. No. All right, so she's like turning me on to Facebook,
yeah.
and she says, "Dad, there's always people who get in touch with me. They want to know what you're doing. I don't know who's who, so I always say you're fine. But there's this thing called Facebook, and you make friends." And I go, "How am I going to make friends?" She goes, "Dad, all you have to do is put your name out there, and you're going to have like friends right away." So we did it, and next thing I know, I'm reunited with all these people in the record business, all these people that have been looking for me, because I was very bitter about the record business. When I left, I was bitter about it. But yeah, it was just time to go. I had to move on. My role was to do the age thing. It was my destiny. It was my destiny. But we got back. And then the acting thing came about, and then Debbie Van Valkenburg getting in touch with me and telling me about these things, about these reunions, and how I should be part of it. And because I didn't, and the very first one I did was Chiller. It was absolutely horrible. I didn't even know what I was doing. The Warrior guys didn't even talk to me. I mean, I barely knew them, and I had like copies of pictures, and then people would take it. They just wanted my signature, basically, And then I got him to it, And then my daughter, who had done movies and other things and was a paid performer at the Met at the age of 10, she found out through SAG that they had been looking for me all these years, and that I had money waiting for me, and she got me that money in
25 years worth of residuals.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a nice big check. And I said, right then and there, she's my manager. And it's funny because she just got a letter the other day that they're looking for her now. So she's going to get one too.
Well, I also love the fact, because I doing my research, you're just such a great guy. You'll take pictures for free, give pictures. And then your daughter went on to eBay and said, "You know how much money people are selling these pictures for? You need to make some money."
I had no idea of that stuff. I really had no idea.
That's funny.
I had no idea. In fact, I have a new agent, Mark. He said, "Apache, you're going to make more money than you ever did. I'm like, okay, this is another rap, blah, blah, blah." And he was right. He hooked me up when I did Chile, they paid for the pictures, they paid for the hotel, transportation I took care of because I always have a crew that I work with, and uh, it turned. I made good money. He made good money, and now he says he's going to be booking me for some West Coast gigs, and
Oh,
so.
good.
Now that I'm retired, I can use it, especially I'm paying alimony, so it'll come in handy. Yeah.
Definitely comes in. Well, being on Facebook actually got you some movie roles.
Absolutely. Facebook has been very, very good to me. As long as I stay out of Facebook jail, uh, I
It's
mean,
so hard to do.
it's so hard to do. I mean, people are so sensitive now. I can use the same meme that I used like 5 years ago. Um, there's one that I did the other day that put me in jail, but I've used it like every year. I use pretty much the same ones. I just read at a good time. I read to if I like it. Like this one goes, I love you all except you. You're a douche. You know who you are. They banned me for that. They said it was,
Really?
yeah, they said it was like, forget about it. But meanwhile, the years before, all I did was just just resend it. So they got very sensitive. It's a whole different world. Like I don't know. Um, I learned about how you need to talk to people through HRA because we would have these monthly meetings on how to address somebody. Like I never had a problem if a client told me his name is Elizabeth and you want to be addressed that way, that's the way I'm going to address you. Some of my coworkers found that to be a problem. I don't know why.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, I don't know why. Some people shouldn't do certain jobs, they just get these jobs. But,
Yeah.
If you want to be called Elizabeth or you want to be called Twinkle, whatever you want, any way you want me to address you, that's the way I'm going to address you. I know what it is to have your alter ego. Apache's my alter ego. I like if I'm doing a scene or something, I'm going to be very nervous and everything like that until the second it's showtime, and then I'm ready to go. But until then, I'm going through all kinds of shit. I should have said this. Like when I finish with you tonight, I'm going to be like, damn, I should have told him that story. And I said, that's the way you work too, right?
Oh,
That's
no,
the way
definitely. I am the same way. I go through it after I record it and look, I was like, oh, I forgot about this. So that's why I love the fact we're just having a conversation. We're going back and forth. It's not like a scripted interview. We're just two guys talking. And I love this. And so sometimes I'll have you remember something. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about that story. And I tell the story. So I love that. But it's funny because I was doing my research and you said that like you never had to audition for a role because of Facebook, which is great. I watched Vamp Bikers the other day. I love that.
You did? Oh, you like it? Oh, I got to get Eric. Eric won the best film, best director at the Coney Island Film Festival, and it was so funny because it was early in my Facebook career when he sent me a film that he did. It was a tribute to the Warriors, and they were dressed up as the Warriors, and I just can't think of the title of it now. But I thought it was really good, and I thought it was anytime somebody imitates you, I think that's a form of flattery,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so I thought it was cool. So I met them in Coney Island, and they were so happy that I met them that I started working with these biker gangs. And they treated me so well because I was in the Warriors. They gave me it's like when you go to another state and you from New York City, you get the benefit of the doubt. It's up to you to fuck it up, but you get the benefit of the doubt. You from New York, but yeah, they were so good to me. So I got involved with his movie projects and believed in him, and I think he's going places. He keeps making films, and from there, I mean, Eric, I like working with him. I'll get him to if you want to interview him.
Yes,
and
I would love that. Please do that. It's because I love the movie and I loved how funny it was too. Because you're the police chief or whatever. You're like, all right, Starsky and Hutch, get to work, get out of here, and you're just going.
I don't know. He did 3. There's some scenes I've done that didn't make it to the movie because he had a disagreement with the cameraman. Like I have this great scene with Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi? You're a comedian. Angel Salazar.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so Angel's going to be at this thing that's coming up in June. But Angel and I love Angel. Um, uh, we get along really good together, and I love him because he's one of the few people shorter than me. But he's in an iconic movie, Scarface.
Oh my
You
God,
know,
yes.
and when I was at the welfare center, when I was at the Division of Aid Services, I mean, when I was fair hearing supervisor, uh, one day a week, you're the E worker, you're the emergency worker, so you handle everything that comes in through the door, which was my worst day. But I used to have my little shtick because I know if you have a clipboard, you're looking for it, right? So I would always have my little clipboard, okay? And so people are there, they're not happy to be there. And I see people at their worst, okay? So I go to comedy, okay? I've been told so many times I should have been a comedian, but I love comedians. I love what they do. But now it's so tough for them because now people want to kick your ass. That is so fucking sick.
That is.
Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah,
But
that's another rabbit hole we can go down. But
we go, yeah.
that,
But
and you know what, the other thing too is, well, besides everybody being so politically correct now, and the fact that if they don't like your joke, they'll jump on stage and tackle you. Now, also, they film your set with their phones, and by the time you go see them live, you're like, oh, this is old, and they're trying out new material, and it's not done yet, it's not fully formulated yet, and then you're like, this guy sucks now. Like, no, he doesn't suck. He's trying out. So yeah, right now would be the toughest time to be a comedian for all those reasons and many more that I just brought up.
so I would do this. Okay, so say my E day was Monday morning, which is the absolute worst, which means I didn't sleep all night Sunday before, which means I had agita up the ass, and I was doing my Buzzpart pills like a motherfucker. Anyways, so you have a room full of angry people. You have at least 40 or 50 people on that room, and they've signed the list. And you come in, and I would take the list and put it on my clipboard, and I would look at the list, and I would go, Dolores Gonzalez, come on down. And that would just open up a whole big thing. They were my audience, and they would get so excited, or they would say, who the fuck? And I would say, come on down. And they would just all start laughing, and they'd go, oh, that's crazy, Mr. Ramos. He's one of the good ones. You can hear them whispering. He's one of the good ones. You know, because I was pro-client. I grew up on public assistance. I know the deal, you know.
Yeah.
So even though I would get in trouble with my superiors enforcing the Welfare Reform Act, I knew that this was bullshit. And so I would pro-client, and I gave a lot of people breaks. And I learned that, you know, I used to be anti-war guy. You know, I burnt my draft card. Me and Muhammad Ali was my idol. You know, I was down with the Young Lords. And I saw the whole Vietnam War thing, what it was doing to my people. So I was involved with all of that stuff. But I've learned when I went into HRA that I was more useful. I could be more radical. I could change things. I could make things better if I was part of the system as opposed to railing against it. And when that finally hit me, I was able to do a lot of good things. And when I retired, it's really funny because when I retired, the city reverted back to giving clients breaks and all that stuff because they knew this. Because it sounds, I know people, like I've become more more conservative as I get older, but there's certain things that I learned that some people just, it sounds right that okay, you gotta have to work for your benefits, but there are people that just don't fit into those boxes. You can't put people in boxes. You can't put people in boxes. And when I worked for Division of AIDS Services, like I said, people needed me and wanted me. When I was on the other end of the spectrum, I would get cursed out or I would get blessed maybe 4 or 5 times a day. So you have to have a thick skin.
Yeah, definitely.
And you have to have a sense of humor because I only had 2 computers thrown at me in my whole history, which is really good because anytime I got a new worker, at first I didn't know what I was doing, but then when I became a vet, And I would get a new worker I could see the fear in their face because, you really don't have no security. By the time security comes, you're stabbed or whatever. But with a sense of humor, you can ease down things. You can, and especially if the person knows that you're not belittling them, and that you are making an honest effort to listen to them, no matter how wrong they are. And sometimes you got to make some choices. Like if I got a guy who just came out of prison, which is my favorite because they usually were trying to do the right thing when they get out. But then you get some guys that come out that, they don't even see you, man. They're just there. They just like their whole face is tatted up, and they don't even see you. They've had so much, they're so damaged, that it's better to, what they say, when in doubt, punt. You know what I'm saying? You got to punt sometimes. You got to know when to hold them.
Know when to fold them.
There you go.
I can say I've worked in the public for all my life.
I saw that 277 gigs in 1 year.
Yep.
And only 4 states. What was it? 4 states?
No, now it ended with 9 states, and I did over 400 shows. I did it for 4 years. I did comedy. Yeah. So I'm having a good time.
I respect that, bro. I respect that.
Thank you.
I was like, why does he want? Let me find out what he's about. So let me see. I know you're on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. But, what I should do is I'm going to send you my comedy DVD, and I also send you my book.
I'm cheap and easy.
I will definitely send you both. I'm sure, knowing your sense of humor, I love when you and I go back and forth with text. I'm always laughing at the text you send me. You have a great.
That was the greatest invention, because after I was a salesman and all that, I just can't talk to people on the phone. Maybe my girlfriend, if I just met her and we're just going out, but texting was made for me. I hate when people call me up. Hey, Apache, what you doing? I was doing nothing until you called me. What do you want? But unless you want to talk to your girlfriend or something like that. But other than that, texting came in, and I learned how to text, and I know how to put things together. Facebook got this new thing where you have the stories. So I put the stories in. I make things up. Like tonight, I have a country western song with these people. Actually, it's a picture taken by that director who they say was the actual moon landing. He did the actual moon landing. What's that director's name?
Oh my God. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of his name though.
I'll
have to check that. Anybody who's watching this show, Google it.
Yeah.
Tell us, please.
The guy that they said. Anyways, he took this picture. Stanley Kubrick.
Oh yes,
Stanley Kubrick.
2001: Space Odyssey.
So he took this picture when he was young, like a teenager. He was into photography. He was into images like me, and he took this picture of these couple making out on the fire escape. So I saw that picture today because I love black and white photos. Those are my favorite. Black and white photos are my favorite, and that's like I'm into Tubi now. Tubi, that free platform.
Oh yeah, I love that station.
They have Naked City. They have Naked City, and that's from the 50s, and that's New York, gritty New York, black and white. And I get to watch, turn my granddaughter on every Saturday. We watch Batman, the 1960s Batman.
Adam West, Burt Ward, that's my favorite. So campy.
Yeah, it's so campy because the Batman now, it's just too serious. It's too dark. Give me the Riddler. Riddle me this. Frank Gorshin. Look at the actors. Cesar Romero. He doesn't want to shave his mustache. He refuses to shave it because that was the first. And then my granddaughter, episode 1, she says, "Why doesn't Robin have any pants on?" I never thought of that. That's genius. I never thought of that.
Well, I never thought of it, and I've watched those shows, that whole series multiple times. I never even thought of it once.
She was 5 years old. That's what she says to me. Why is he wearing no pants, Grandpa? And I'm like, you're right.
One of my favorite stories. Are you a Bruce Lee fan?
Sure. Is it?
Well, he was in obviously the Green Hornet. He played Kato, so they wanted to get better ratings for the Green Hornet. And they put Kato, and the Green Hornet fighting Batman and Robin.
Yep.
So Bruce Lee said, if Robin's going to beat me, I'm walking off the show right now. There's no way Robin's going to kick my ass. So they made it a draw just to make everybody happy. Like, so he made Bruce Lee said, "There's no way I'm losing to this guy right here."
He's such a weird character, but they really had. I got to meet Adam West
Yeah, me too.
at one of those signings. I think I forgot which one I did. It was right across the street from Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
It was in a hotel. I got arrested in once, and I was the wrong guy. I just had the face. I looked. There was a robbery at the whole. It was the Sheridan, right? Is that the one right across the street from the Madison Square Garden?
I know where
The
it is.
hotel where they threw the spy out the window, where they filled him with LSD and they threw him out the window. The Penn Plaza? No, the Penn. Anyway, that hotel. I just happened to be there, and there was a robbery there.
Oh.
And I was with my friend Vito, and I don't know what we were doing. Vito, and we were doing something, but we weren't robbing nothing. And there was some kind of robbery, and they snatched us up, and I had to go to the precinct, was handcuffed, and I had just picked up a lid. Back then, we called them lids, like an ounce of pot.
Mhm.
And when they realized I wasn't the guy, then they were letting me go. They were letting me go after they took the pot off me too. And I was like, "Can I get my pot back?" They were like, "Get out of here." Can I get my weed back, bro?
No, I'll gladly take my weed and leave. Okay.
Yeah. But then I hadn't been so I worked in the 34th Street area. When I worked with Division of Aid Services, Hell's Kitchen was my beat. And so I know that area very, very well. At least I thought I did. So the last couple of years I've been in Florida and the virus, and I kept away from everybody. So about a month ago, I went on my first date in a long, long time, and we met at the AMC Theater on 42nd Street, on 40 Deuce, and my daughter got me on the LIRR, and when I got off the train, I did not recognize New York.
Yeah.
This was my city. I did not. It was all. I got off the LIRR, and it was all plywood. It was like a tunnel of plywood, all the ways up the escalator, all the ways. And I knew that if I followed the little signs from Madison Square Garden, I would be good. So I said I had to go to Chase because I haven't had cash in a long time because I just use my card all the time. But I needed some cash because I'm going on a date. So I'm looking for Chase. I know Chase is right there, Madison Square Garden. I had to go through this myriad of things. So I'm building up my stamina again because I have been very sick for a long time. And I'm getting a little tired walking. And this construction guy, because it's all plywood, they're just building shit all over. He pops up with a sign that says stop, big stop sign. And so apparently he's used to getting cursed out because, everybody behind me has to stop. And I go, "Oh, thank God, I needed a rest." And he started laughing. So that I'm walking up Broadway up to 40 Deuce, and there's weed stores. There's weed. There was always weed in that area. Because when I was in record,
Now it's legal.
the office over there, but now it's legal. They have Weed World. Guys selling weed out there. I mean, I love my weed. I mean, that's it. I don't drink anymore. I have my glass of wine, but I'm a Rasta Rican. Okay, I love my weed. And no stems, no seeds that you don't need. How golden. But the weed is so much better today than what we used to smoke. I call that AstroTurf now, man. But this shit is really good stuff now. But yeah, I didn't even recognize there's so much new buildings going on. So on the way back, after I had a successful date, we just had the most wonderful time. And I didn't know when we went in the movie that you had to use the computer to get a ticket.
Yes.
And then you have to use the computer where you want to sit.
Yeah.
So we messed up the time. So I said, well, let's go out to eat. So I took her to the Havana Central on 46th Street in Broadway. We had some Cuban food. And then we went to the movie across the street, which is, I think, the Lowe's. Anyway, so she knew she had been going to the movie, so she did everything. And we had to pick the seats. And then we go in there, and it was the guy, Marky Mark.
Oh, yeah. Mark Wahlberg. But
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see that one, but was it any
so
good?
Very, very beefy. You know, he's a boxer, so he's.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, that's why."
Oh,
she
Father
picked him.
Stew.
Father Stu. So she goes. So I go, "Oh, that's why she picked it." But when we went in there after we picked the seats, there was nobody in the whole theater. We had the whole theater by ourselves, the whole theater. So I was like, "Why did we pick seats?" So the movie is a lot of beefcake, but because he's a boxer, and then he finds a Spanish girl who's religious, you know, one of those movies, and
Yeah.
then he makes love to her, and then she falls in love with him, but then he decides to be a priest, so she's all pissed with that, and then he becomes a priest, so he goes from a boxing bad guy, he becomes a priest, and that crazy guy, the actor, the one that said, "Do you really want to jump?"
I know. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of it because I didn't see that movie, but I
He
know
was great in that.
Yeah.
He's in the movie. He's really, really good.
Yeah,
So
that's funny.
that's one of my favorite lines. Do you really want to jump? But he goes. He anyway. So then Marky Mark. Then all of a sudden he has like Lou Gehrig's disease. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm an artist. I'm a sensitive guy. So she's sitting there with me, and then a tear comes out, and she goes, "I really like you. You're so sensitive." And I'm just, she's from my old zip code in the Bronx, you know.
I
So
love it.
I know she's tough. Another Puerto Rican chick, tough. But
Well, it's funny you mentioned that they're not recognizing New York anymore. Do you know John Joseph? He was at the Warriors.
yeah, I know John Joseph. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
great.
guy's an incredible guy. He emceed an event that I was in, and
Yeah,
we
the
got
Coney Island.
no, it wasn't in Coney Island. It was at a club in the Lower East Side. It was winter time,
Okay.
and he's the guy's a Superman, isn't he? He's
Oh, yeah.
incredible.
Well, he's going to be on the show soon. Yeah, Cro-Magnon. He's going to be on the show soon. But I met him first at the Warriors, Coney Island. But then the reason I'm bringing him up was because he does a New York walking tour of the Lower East Side, and he talks about like the old days in the 70s and 80s, what New York was like back then compared to what it's like now. And it was exactly what you're saying right now. We went to areas where they filmed Taxi Driver, and then he's just like you. He has so many stories, and he's hilarious, just like you.
He's hilarious. We spoke one time all night because it was him and David Harris and I and my daughter backstage, and I got to really respect that. One of the toughest white guys I ever met in my life. I mean, that guy does super marathon shits, man. He can ride a bike for 25 miles, run for another 200 miles, swim another 25 miles. He's one of the incredible. And he wrote that book.
Two books, PMA, the PMA Effect. He also wrote the Evolution of a Cro-Magnon.
And he also wrote a book.
Meat is for Pussies.
Meat is for Pussies. That's it. That's it. Yeah, we hit it off big time. We got along like I got some pictures with me and him somewhere. Yeah.
Now, so do I, and I cannot wait.
He's on my Facebook list.
Okay.
My friends list. Yeah. John Joseph.
But going through that walking tour, I just did that 2 weeks ago, and it was so interesting seeing all the areas that are now delis, used to be punk clubs where he performed, and then he has so many stories about all the things that he's done in his life, which, I mean, with all the bad things that happened to him, he turned out great. I mean, he was a monk for a while. He was Hare Krishna. He does the whole plant-based diet. He's all about that. So yeah, I have a lot of respect for him, and of course I love the Cro-Mags. Cro-Mags are great.
Yeah, we got to hang out some more. We got to hang out. Yeah, John Joseph. I got to hang out with him. We got to communicate for a while. He's a good brother. He's a really good dude. He knows what time it is.
Yes, he does.
It is.
Yep. Well, I want to get back to what your movies, because I said I watched Vamp Bikers. I was looking for Orchard Beach. I couldn't find that, but there's one I was looking for, and I know that you won an award for. It's called High and Tight.
That's my favorite. You don't have that one?
No, I couldn't find it.
I'll send it right now.
Yeah, please do.
No, go to Vimeo. It's on Vimeo.
Oh, Vimeo. Okay, because I thought it was on Prime Video.
It was on Prime Video for 2.5 years, and then they took it off. I was so disappointed too, because I went to show somebody and they took it off.
Yeah,
I got it.
When I was doing my research, I said I want to see this movie because I know how much you love it. It's only about 15 minutes long, and you won an award.
Because I got to really do some acting there. I really got to do some acting there because it's about I'm a neighborhood barber. Actually, they sent the script to Jazz, and Jazz said, "Dad, you could do this." And when I read it, I play an old Spanish guy. Stretch. All right.
Typecast.
And but it was a barber who's been in the neighborhood a long time, Mr. Marquez, and his son is supposed to take over the business. However, my son gets involved with an older woman, and the husband catches them in bed together, and he kills both of them. He happens to be a state trooper, so he disappears for 7 years. And I have the wanted poster on my on the mirror, and where my son was going to take over. That chair is dressed in black. So fast forward 7 to 8 years, he has this this guilt thing, and he hasn't shaved, and he hasn't cut his hair in that time, and he listens to self-help tapes, and he's drinking that syrup that the people like to drink, that syrup to get high. The nasty shit. But so he starts stalking me, and he could see me. It was done in a real barbershop too, and I had a stunt man to do the cutting because the hair was nasty. I didn't want to touch it, and I didn't know what I was doing. You know, they used the real barber's hands. You know, and so his conscience gets to him, and eventually he comes into the barbershop. And however, there's a cop there that he didn't see. So he freezes and he says, "What time do I close?" And I told him the time. And then he comes back when there's nobody there, and it's just him and I alone. And I'm upset because I was closing. And we sit him down, and he talks, and I'm talking, and I have an attitude, and I'm cutting his hair. And the way he's talking is hitting me a certain way, and it's very dramatic. And as the more hair goes off, and then I shave his beard, and then I'm looking at I'm looking at it, and then I have the knife on his throat, and then I'm looking at it, and then I realize he's the one that killed my son, and I'm looking at it, and he goes, "Do it, do it, do it." And then you got to see the ending.
I can't wait. Yeah, please send that to me.
Let me see. That's that one I was pretty proud of, because
you won an award in Canada. Right?
Yeah, I won Best Supporting Actor in Canada.
Congratulations.
And I had it. I broke it, and then somebody fixed it for me. But yeah, that was a good one, because I worked with Seth Abrams, and he came from the Yiddish theater.
Okay.
And Seth has like this with John Joseph, as a matter of fact, like this, and he used to be one of those marathon guys too, from the Yiddish theater, and he had a series of strokes. So Seth, he has when he talks, you could just, he had a bunch of strokes, so it was interesting working with him as an actor, because he's really good. I mean, you got to be on your toes to work with him, but we hit it off so well.
Well, I definitely look forward to seeing it.
Yeah. Let me see. I have it right here. Here we go. I'm going to send it to you right now.
All right. Thank you. There's another movie I was looking for. I heard you talking about this. I couldn't find it anywhere. You said it was called The Dysfunctional Mob. And it was.
Oh, yeah. Dysfunctional Mob. Okay. That's. Hi. The Dysfunctional Mob. Oh, my God.
I couldn't find that anywhere. I wanted to see it because you said the director, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he did not want any swearing on the movie.
And he's super Italian, and he didn't want any swearing in the movie. And we went. I'm looking at the High and Tight. We won so many awards. We won a lot of those things they put on the billboard, but on the poster. But this guy. Oh my God. Louis Marino. Now, Louis Marino is somebody that, due to my amazing skills of being able to get along with almost anyone, keeps me still talking to this guy, because he just pisses off everybody he talks to. But his main claim to fame, he gets to do Simons because he was the baby in The Godfather.
Ah, okay.
All right, he was the baby in The Godfather. He's from the Lower East Side. Uh, he's just a loud, rambunctious kind of guy. If you say martial arts, he's the best. If you say whatever, he's been in it. I know he was in the funeral business for a long time. Uh, uh, he has a lot of friends, but he just pisses actors off. And he's very special in my life. But we did a thing called Dysfunctional Mob. And, he has some really good actors in it. There's a guy named Doug who does impersonations, and he's really really good. He looks just like the Godfather. He looks like anybody he wants to be. He's like one of those guys,
Yeah.
and he's a chameleon. So the Lewis asked me to be in his film, so I do it, and he knows that when I do things, I do it really well. But I'm a bit of a diva, and there's certain things, especially if you're not paying me, right, that you have to do for me to be in your film. And one of them, if you don't do it, I'm not going to do it, is transportation. You got to pick me up and you got to bring me home because my ass is too old. My heart is too weak to be working on the subways like I did. In fact, that was one of the main reasons I retired at the end, was because I was living in Queens, Middle Village, and I was working in Brooklyn, which was my last couple of years in this. I took this job so that I wouldn't have client contact anymore. But I was taking 6 subways and 2 buses a day. I mean, it eventually gets to you,
Oh, yeah.
So, no, I didn't do it. But those are the only, basically, you don't have to feed me because I don't really eat. You don't have to give me alcohol because I don't drink. And, I'll smoke a joint or something like that and have a pizza with the cast or something. But you got to make sure I get home because when I was living in Middle Village, I was on the last stop of the M train, and then I had to take a bus. And at Queens at night, those buses don't run. So as much as I'm being a diva, they like to say, I'm not going to spend all night trying to get home because I've done that where I volunteer or even if I'm doing a paid gig and I can't get home, it's like impossible to get home at night sometimes if you live in Queens. So I just said I'm never going to do that again. The least you can do if you're not paying me is get me a ride.
It's going to cost more to pay you to be in the movie than to get you transportation.
Exactly.
So go with the transportation. Like you said, you're not even asking for drinks or food. Just get me home and get me there.
Yeah, and then I had those problems with my heart. The first time with the stent.
Yeah.
That wasn't so bad, but it was a pulling of the coat because I bought patelas is a traditional Puerto Rican Caribbean food where it's like it's a food that you buy, you eat it on the holidays. So I had a dozen in this hand and a dozen in this hand frozen, and I was walking up a hill and I just couldn't make it. So my friend David Goody, who goes to me to most of my gigs, retired cop, he convinced me to go to the hospital. I didn't go to the hospital, and then I wound up calling the ambulance, and I wound up getting the stent. So I was supposed to stop smoking, but I've been smoking since I was like 12 years old. So, and I was smoking menthol cigarettes, Cools, which you can't even buy anymore. So I stopped smoking for a week. Started smoking again. Blah, blah, blah. So the second time I got the stent, it was really bad. I bled out and took me 6 months to recover. And the reason why I finally quit, it's been 2 years since I smoked a cigarette. I smoked menthols for 50 years.
Wow.
And it ruined my heart. And the reason why I stopped wasn't so much my heart and my lungs, was when I woke up, my balls and my dick was like this, blown up because all the blood had to go somewhere because they had to use a clamp.
Yeah.
They were going through here. It was like I could see them, but I was under. And when I woke up, I said, no, I'm never gonna smoke again. So that's it. I gave up my cool cigarettes. But now I want to live. Now I'm going to the senior centers and exercising and those two that the year and a half that I spent in Florida, I was going swimming, but then I was restricted. I didn't like the as a city worker, retired civil servant. I had great insurance, medical insurance. The pay sucks, but the benefits are great.
Yeah.
But
which as you get older, you realize that's more
more important. That's more important because
Yeah,
my medication, I take a lot of medication, and my union pays for it. So it's a good deal. $20 for the 90-day supplies. Everything is good. But in Florida, I found out that my insurance is great in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. But in Florida, it's a whole other beast. And I didn't like the medical care I was getting there. And I got to the point where they restricted my exercising. And there's not much you can do when it's so fucking hot. So I would go to the pool every day. But then I was having problems breathing. I came back home, and my daughter took me to a cardiologist here because I'm affiliated with NYU. And they said I was taking too much of one medication, and they told me got rid of it. And now I'm back. I'm feeling much better. So good. New York is where I belong.
Right, well, I'm happy you're back. Better than
I'm
ever.
still staying.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about two of the latest, maybe the most recent movies, unless I have this wrong. One of them is called The Zoo Crew 2. That sounds like a fun movie where I just want to tell my audience, my viewers, what it's about. So the child actor ditches his career to become a street gang leader after watching the movie The Warriors.
Yeah,
that sounds like a fun movie.
Michael Demetrius, he's a Broadway actor. He did Runaways for a bunch of times. He's done a million things. And he's hired, he has me and a couple of the Warriors under contract. And it's what most things happen. He wants to do that. It's supposed to be directed by Fox, Tom Waite.
Okay.
Who's going to be at this thing on June 2nd. Also, his band is going to be there. But he was supposed to direct it, and like a lot of other projects, that the virus messed things up, and they're looking for funding. But he recently had an accident. I know his daughter just graduated from college. She's such a sweetheart. But yeah, I'm under contract with him if something happens with that. The Zoo Crew 2. Damn, you know everything, man. Damn.
I've done my research.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I was thinking? I know a lot of people that do a Kickstarter or something like that, where people will put money in and they maybe have a producer credit.
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah.
Oh, he's doing it. Okay.
Yeah,
I will gladly put money in for that.
Let me ask you something. Where is this going to be shown? Or who's going to see this?
YouTube. I have my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. YouTube. Okay. Because I've done podcasts with what's his name? The wrestler. He's a big
yeah. I forgot what his name is. I know exactly what you're talking about because I've heard podcasts with him on different guests that I like on his show. I cannot think of his name though. Y2K. Yeah. I can't think of his name, but I know exactly who you mean. He has a great podcast. But yeah, this is going to be on YouTube, and hopefully when it comes out, I'll let you know. We can spread the word and get as many people.
Just put it on. Put it on your. You have a new platform, Orphan Nation. You have something you want to. You go on Orphan Nation.
This is going on the Rich Sear YouTube.
What I hate is when two members get into a fight. Oh my God. Like some kind of, that's why I avoid all kind of political shit. But sometimes members get into it and then they inbox me and they go, Apache, how could you have this guy on and stuff like that? But, my thing is everybody has an opinion if they can express it fine. If it bothers you, don't read it. Leave them alone. Change the channel. That's all. That's all. I'm not going to get upset about that.
Yeah.
I remember when Trump was in, oh my God, he was in Puerto Rico. We had the earthquake and all that stuff. And said some horrible things. And some people said, well, why, Apache, why didn't you jump on it? It's not worth it. It's going to be forgotten in a minute. And I don't like banning people. I don't like censoring people. I really don't. I mean, you could say things that I really don't like, but you're exposing yourself there. That doesn't mean I have to I think I would give you too much attention if I did that. I just
Yeah.
like leave you go, let it go.
No, see, I agree with you. And you know what I love? I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm all about free speech," but if it's something I don't like, I don't want to hear it. No,
Yeah,
that's what free speech is all about.
exactly.
Everybody should be able, and there's a documentary on the ACLU, and there was a time where they fought for the Nazis to have their own rally. And the guy from the head of the ACLU at the time said, "I don't support the Nazis, but I support their right to have a talk about what they want to." He goes, "I don't agree with anything," but there was a whole documentary just about that. But yeah, I agree with you. I always say, I'm not going to change your mind. You're not going to change my mind. Why do we even have to go back and forth? I have my opinion. You have your opinion. We have so many other things in common. Why do we have to keep going back and forth? But I know people now, it's to the point where you don't agree with me. I hope you die.
I know. I censor you.
Yeah,
That whole Will Smith thing. I could not believe that.
that was really weird. First, I thought it was a joke.
Me,
And then,
yeah.
yeah, but you know what's funny? You could see, I saw that there was Bill Maher was doing a great thing on that. He has a segment called "It's a Joke, Stupid." So he had that whole segment in slow motion, and you see Will Smith laughing. Then he looks over in slow motion. You see Jada roll her eyes. Then all of a sudden he gets up. He like Bill Maher said, you actually see this. You see Will Smith get canceled in real time. He basically looked at his wife. His wife said, I don't think, what do you laugh at? That's not funny. Then he gets up there and slaps him. It was weird. I thought it was I really, for maybe a week, I said, this has to be a joke. I was waiting for it to unroll. And I'm like, no, maybe it really was. Chris Rock handled himself very well. I was surprised at that.
Oh yeah, he's the way. I heard he's hosting the Academy Awards again next year or something. Meanwhile, Will is like, oh my God.
He's banned for 10 years.
Look, if you don't like an act, you just don't pay to go see it. That's all. That's all. Some people like it, go see it. I mean, the time period in my life now is just so weird compared to growing up. That whole 60s, 70s generation, and then compared to now, everything's so strict and so watch what you're saying, watch what you're doing. As far as violence, I think it's always been violent. New York growing up, we used to have, me growing up, 2,000 murders a year wasn't so far-fetched. I mean, I'm just so used to the violence that I'm numb to it. I'm just numb to it. I've seen so much of it. The only difference now is that I have grandchildren and worry about them. But the only thing you can do is just prepare your kids for the world as best you can, and they're going to go for their own.
No, I want to say his name was Jericho. That's the wrestler. It just came to me.
Chris Jericho. Yep.
That's but what I wanted to say was the difference in, like you said, there was probably more violence or just as much violence, but the difference is back then we didn't have 24/7 news cycles. We didn't have social media posting it over and over again.
Exactly.
So you're seeing this thinking that, oh, it's the worst it's ever been. Actually, I don't think it is. And I think the reason everybody's so sensitive now, and this is a theory that somebody came up with, and I agree with it, that kids have it so easy today. It's the easiest life has ever been. And now they have nothing to revolt against. So they have to rebel against something. So they're online. I hate this. I hate that. And really, your life is too good. And that's why you're starting all these fights with the keyboard warrior. This is disgusting. I want that. And then now everything is banned or canceled, as you said. If you said something 10 years ago, like a meme you put up 10 years ago, somebody's going to come up and say, I don't like that. I don't want him to work again. And I think that's horrible.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I know in terms of violence, I grew up in a violent time. I remember I didn't start school till second grade. Nobody brought me to school until second grade. And my first day, I ran away. But I remember hiding under our desks with air raid drills, living under the threat.
Oh, yeah.
When we had the first blackout in 1965, November 9th, I remember I was doing my fifth grade homework, and my mother was cooking, and I thought the lights went out. I thought right away it was the Russians. The Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Yeah. But my life totally changed in November 22nd, 1963, when my teachers were crying and sent us home and said the president was shot. That didn't say he was dead, but say he was shot. That changed everything. I became a a news junkie then.
Yeah.
I was stuck to the TV. I remember seeing at my friend Ephraim's house when Jack Ruby killed Oswald. I saw it live just when it happened,
Wow.
and then Robert Kennedy, and then Martin Luther King in '68, and that's my growing up with. That's when I was growing up. So violence is not new to me at all.
Yeah.
And people say it's worse now. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know.
Well, even with the
I
John.
think what you say with all the cable outlets and all this stuff, because you have to wait 24 hours. You had to wait for the newspaper. You couldn't wait to get the newspaper, and you only had your local news, and
Yeah.
you didn't have CNN. You only had like 4 stations, and radio. I loved radio. I remember listening to Ali fight Patterson on radio,
Yeah.
listening to fights on the radio. I still like, now they call them podcasts, but before they were stories,
Oh yeah. No. And even
Yeah.
before that, they were the serials.
Yeah, I was a
The
big
radio shows.
I was a big Imus fan.
Oh yeah.
I remember Imus. No matter what they said about him, the guy was entertaining, and I would listen to that would be my thing in the morning and going to work. I would listen to
Oh yeah.
first. I would listen to 1010 Wins, get a quick news thing, and then while I'm on the toilet listening to Imus, and then when I'm in walking up to catch the bus, I put WBLS on or Kiss or something on. That would be I love radio.
Oh yeah. No, I actually had a job in radio for a very short time years ago. It was 92. I worked in radio from 92 and 97. And at that time, it was funny because people said, you got into radio at the wrong time. It's not fun anymore. At that time, it was all these bigger companies like Affinity Broadcasting were buying out smaller stations. Now it's the worst it's ever been because now it's streaming, Pandora, Spotify. Radio stations are becoming obsolete, and it's just I know I still have friends in radio.
DJs. Yeah,
Yes,
it's all
exactly.
it's all automated, push
Yeah.
button, remote control, synthetics, genetics, command your soul. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Had
to-
those DJs, Frankie Crocker, DJs you can remember.
oh,
The
yeah.
good guys, WMCA, the good guys. Yeah.
I had such a fun time in radio, but it was more of a hobby because I wasn't making any money off of it. And I said there was no stability. It's even worse than the music business and acting, where there was just the same thing happened to me. What happened to you with the record business? I came in one day and said, all right, we sold the station. You got to go. That happened twice to me.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I want to talk about another movie. Let's get back to the movies because I mentioned the Zoo Crew too. There's another one that says The Duke of New York and Nugo City. That's about COVID. Is that another one?
That's also my man Eric, who did Vamp Bikers. That's Eric, and I have a very small part because of the loyalty he has. Because he feels like I'm one of the first people who backed him up. When he did that thing and sent it to me on Facebook, and then I got involved with the Vamp Biker series.
Mhm.
Because that scene with Chi I did at the Freak Club, the Freak Bar in Coney Island, that will never be seen because the cameraman got mad. But those are the independent films. But I think he did that film. It's an anti-Asian film in terms of stop the anti-Asian hate. But he still gave me a part. I was in Florida, and he sent me some lines he made just to have what I felt about it. So I did it in the pool. I had my girlfriend at the time film me as I'm in the pool saying the lines. So and then I sent it to him, and then he put it in. But I never saw it because I wasn't in New York at the time. But yeah, Eric is still doing it. He's still making his independent films. I call it. I know somebody's going to steal this from me. I call it Hollywood instead of Hollywood. It's Hollywood films, So that's a word I made up for it. It's like the word orphanette. I wanted to be more inclusive. So I came up with orphanette. I don't even know if that's a real word, but my friend David made some T-shirts and made some orphan T-shirts and put orphanette on the side, and people wanted it. So
you have to start copywriting this stuff.
Yeah, I have to learn how to do that. But the whole orphan thing, I've made it into something that, people want to be a part of it. It makes me feel good. I think Paul would have loved it if Paul would have lived.
Yeah.
And You know, because they always show Paul. My part is so small. Every time when I go to these things and see it, I go, damn, this part is so small. But then people want to talk to me afterwards. You know, I remember people said I should have been the leader of the taking just disregarding the film, just making their film up, saying I should have been the leader of the orphans. No, Paul was the leader of the orphans. You know, that was his part, and he did a damn good job.
No,
And
he was great. But
he gets
you
all
have
the
such a
dolls.
memorable scene, though. You have such a memorable part. Like even just
Now,
that one line.
let
And
me show you
actually,
this. Let me show you this. Let me take you into my room.
all right, let's see it.
I'm going to show you what my fans send me. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I just am so grateful. I mean, let me see.
Yeah.
If you can.
You know, I'm so glad they have these meet and greets now, and I'm so glad they have all these autographs.
This is by one of the best graffiti underground graffiti artists.
I love it.
He's done that for me, and yeah, I get all these things that are made for. Let me see. I got let me see these little action figures. Let me see
Oh, let's see.
that they make them.
Yep.
Let me see.
Oh yeah, there it is. I love it. Oh, I need to get one of mine. I need to get one of those
Action figures. I mean, it's okay. I gotta put my thing out. It's great when these big fancy companies make them.
Yeah,
But when your fans make them for you, I mean, look at that.
that is great. Oh, I
This
definitely
is
want one
me
of
on
those.
steroids. But look at that. Look at that. It's so good. This one here. This one here has my tattoo. He just fell on the floor. This one here has my tattoo.
Oh my God, look at that. That is great.
A guy out of England sent them to me. You know, it's just, I mean, that's really nice. You know, I just had a small apartment. They think of me to do that. And my stance. This one is one of my favorites. This one, I had to take it for my grandson because he was going to lose it.
Let's
It's a Lego,
that
and
is
it
great.
has the newspaper that I'm holding too, and the thing. I mean, I don't make these things up, you know. It's just the fans make them, and that's such an honor. It's like, damn, why would you take the time to do that, you know? So I'm very appreciative of it, and I call them and I thank them, and it's just something to be part of.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So little things, and then it has my badge. I love my
You are
little badges.
you are part of pop culture history.
Oh, his let me see if you can see. That's gold. That's
Yep.
platinum.
I see
That's
that.
UK platinum. That's Colonel Abrams trap. That's UK platinum. And then people, I don't make these, but look, it's stickers they made of me.
Yep.
And they send it to me, and I'm so grateful. I'm like, thank you so much. You took the time to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not jaded, you know, like
No,
the Warriors, they get big companies to do their images, and I get big fans.
I think that would actually mean more to me.
Yeah.
Having the fans make that than it would be some company that puts it out who probably company has no clue who you are, but the fans are making it because they love you. They love the movie. You had such an impact on their life. So it would mean more to me with the fans making these dolls or these actual.
And look, this is let me see. This is an artist named Clash that you
Oh yeah.
look at that.
Love that. The orphans.
He puts my
that is
face
great.
on it.
Yep.
I mean, he's really, really good. Let me see. This
That's-
was one of my favorites. This is not an orphan thing, but this is another one of his
Let's see.
Cheech and Chong.
Oh yeah, Up in Smoke.
It's really good.
I love
You
Cheech
make
and
it for
Chong.
me. And then this one.
Ah, that's great.
So
Yep.
you know, so I'm pretty lucky
You are.
to do this, and I'm getting tired of talking now.
All right. Well, I only have a couple more things to talk about. We've only been talking for 3 hours. This hasn't been that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll end with the Warriors because we.
Oh, here's the last one. Somebody sent me this one.
Oh, that is great. you have the best fans.
I do have the best fans.
Yep. And I'm so glad, as I mentioned, I'm glad that your daughter helped you with this. I'm glad that Deborah Van Valkenburg got you, introduced you to the meet and greets.
I was just looking to see if we had an open bottle of wine. No.
Like, if this is going to be any bit longer, I'm going to start drinking.
Then I'll start going, I started out as a child and then.
Well, no, I want to stick with the Warriors because everybody thinks, including myself, that you have a crowbar in your hand, but it's not a crowbar. What is it?
Well, I ran a contest one and nobody got it, but back in, let me see, 78, when we filmed, there was a lot of abandoned buildings all over the place. So for some reason, when it came time to rain on the Warriors, they gave me a counterweight from the old box toilets. They were the they were boxes and you pulled the chain like this. So it was a counterweight. So that's what I'm holding. It was pretty disgusting, but that's what I was holding. And I don't know why they gave me that, but people think I have somebody in the Philippines made a statue of me. It's really hot. It's really hot. But when I was in Florida, this girl knocked it over, so the leg got broken. So I sent it to my friend who got it made for me, David, and I thought he was just going to crazy glue it, but he sent it back to the Philippines to get it repaired. So now I'm waiting for it to come. But yeah.
All right. So another thing about the Warriors, and we'll end with this because I know it's getting late and I have to get up for work myself. But you have an interesting story with the explosion of the car.
Yeah. All right. So all right. So I'm thinking, how much am I going to be in this film, right? So I see the stuntman, which was a short guy, who was actually Conrad. Conrad, who's the guy in the skates with the punks.
Yeah, Conrad Sheehan.
Yeah, he's a great guy, Conrad. He works with prisoners, and he has a book out on Taoism, Taoism. Great guy, really great guy. He keeps in touch with me still. And even though we didn't have no scenes together. And he had a bunch of padding on, but I didn't know who he was at the time. And he was close to the car that was going to blow up. So I knew what car was going to blow up. So I wanted to make sure I was seen in the movie. I didn't know if I was going to get cut out or how much you're going to be in the movie. So he was close to the car. So I got close to the car. So while we're waiting for this thing to blow, they had like some kind of glue on the car and some kind of starter that we was waiting for it to blow. And that's where we were doing all the improv and shit. We're going to get you Warriors. Fuck you Warriors, blah, blah, blah. So that's where we're going to rain on you Warriors. It was born. So I was close to the car. And when it blew up, it was a real explosion. I mean, for some reason, I thought it was going to be a Hollywood explosion or some shit like that. And I was absolutely fearless back then. I didn't give a shit about it. I'd fight anybody. I'd do anything. I was absolutely crazy then. But
you wanted to be in the scene as well. You wanted to be.
I wanted to be seen in the movie. I wanted to be in the movie. And when that thing blew up, some people ran, some people froze. My reaction was to run and laugh because I could see the glass coming down on people. And I was laughing hysterically. I just laugh when I'm in trouble. I laugh when I'm sad. Laughing is an escape thing for me. So then the guy came out, somebody named Eddie the Torch came out and said, sorry guys, they forgot to take out the windshield. So that's where all the glass was.
Oh man.
So then the next two times they blew up two more cars. And I'm sure they took the first one because the next two times I was like, we're going to rain on you Warriors.
They're going to rain on you, not me. Well, it's raining on the Warriors. I'll be over here.
I'm over there. That's
Get
it.
away.
That's it. Fuck you Warriors.
Well, you know what? You know what we have to do? Me, you, John, Joseph have to hang out sometime.
Sure, let's do that. Do it. As long as I've got transportation. I learned how to. I'm fortunate now that I don't really go to a lot of places, but I intend to. But when I do, I'm Uber.
No, I'm the same way too. Uber and Lyft. I love those two things.
I love Uber. I love Uber.
Yeah.
I figured out it costs $40 to get my girlfriend here from the Bronx, and that's all I need to know for her. Because Queens is like another country.
Oh
But
yeah.
$40 from Co-op City to here is not a bad deal.
No, not bad at all.
Because I'm close to the Whitestone Bridge. That's what it is.
Well, Apache, thank you very much for being on the show. It was great talking to you. I can talk to you probably for another 3 hours.
Oh yeah. Let's go to a bar. Like I was talking to that guy. Okay, this is a quick story at Thriller, right? So they had the cast of MASH. I got to have dinner with the greatest transvestite of all time,
Jamie Farr.
88 years old, still sharp as a tack, funny as hell. And Back to the Future, the McFly guy, what's his name? McFly.
Oh, well, Marty McFly was that was Michael J. Fox, right? But I'm trying to think who was. Well, Christopher Lloyd was there.
Yeah.
Is that who you're talking about? Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. He played Doc.
No, Doc was okay, but I didn't hang out with him after. The guy that he says McFly. Well, I forgot who he was.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen the movie in years. I know who you're talking about because I did meet some. I met Leah Thompson. I met Christopher Lloyd, and I can't think of who you're talking about, but I know the character. But yeah, so you hung out with him.
Anyway, so I'm at the bar. So I don't drink during the whole event. I don't really eat during the whole event until I know everything is over and I can relax. So I had a drink and I'm at the bar and my phone goes off. And when I get text messages, I have a duck. And my duck goes quack, quack, quack. And so he heard the duck go quack, quack, quack. So he says, I used to have a duck go quack, quack, quack when I got my texts. And I go, well, I have mine because I've always been a Groucho Marx fan.
Yes.
And he goes, I played Groucho Marx for 8 years. So his wife, who's in the Harry Potter series as a witch, she goes, I hated when he played Harry Potter because when he played Groucho, because Groucho was mean. So that just told me that he took his character home with him. But you gotta learn to cut out the character. But that was so funny because of my duck started a conversation.
That's funny.
We talk about comedy and about theater and about playing a role and stuff. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. But we didn't talk about the automat.
No, I was gonna get to that because I know it's well, I'll let you talk about it because that was another question I did have ready.
The automat. Okay, so there's a woman named Lisa Hurwitz. Okay, and she's a young lady, and it took her 7 years to do this movie. And for some reason, she got an interest in the automats. And my first job when I got my working papers was as a busboy in the automats because my grandmother was a nickel thrower. You gave her $1, she gave you 20 nickels magically and threw them at you so you could use the automats. So I wrote about it and put it on Facebook. And she happened to come across it and she hired me. And I'm proud to be part of this because I can honestly say I'm in a film with one of my idols.
Mel Brooks.
They're all my idols. Mel Brooks.
Yep.
And because I was totally in love with his wife when I saw The Graduate. I never had a woman younger than me after I saw The Graduate. I always went out with older ladies. And she was from the Bronx.
Oh, yeah.
Anne Bancroft. Her real name, Maria Italiano. Everybody thought she was Jewish, but she was Italian from the Bronx. And RBK, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is in it. RBG, she's in it, and General Colin Powell's in it, and Rob Reiner's in it, and the guy that's used to be married to Barbara Streisand's in it.
Oh, is it Joel Silver? Or no, James Brolin or Joel Silver?
No, he was in MASH.
Oh, I was thinking because
he was in the movie MASH. That the TV.
Oh, Elliot Gould.
There you go. Yeah, he's in it, and it's just so cool that I'm in it, and I was able to have a picture with my grandmother in it, and I got mentioned in the New York Times too because I was the only worker. But Mel Brooks is hilarious, and he was so fascinated that this girl who had nothing I don't even know if she was born when the last one was closed. The last one was closed like in '92 on 42nd Street, but it originated in Philly. And at one time, the Automat was as popular as the Empire State Building, as the and the Empire State Building and Statue of Liberty, because this is a place where immigrants can go, where Black people could go, where anybody could go. And if the rule was, if there was an empty seat, you could sit in it. And there, it was an amazing place. So the mayor, the first Black mayor of Philadelphia, is in it. He tells how his family used to take him there. And Colin Powell said that growing up in the Bronx, his family used to take him there. So it's a wonderful, wonderful. Last Saturday. It was on 86th Street. It was playing there. Documentary that will be. It's going to be on TCM, and it's on something that's going to be able to download. But right now, it's making the run. All the film festivals and stuff. And I'm really proud to be in that film.
Yeah,
Really.
well, you're surrounded by greatness.
I know.
Peter Ginsburg, Rob Reiner, Colin Powell, Mel Brooks.
You got to do this. Would you see it?
I live in Connecticut.
Oh no! Let me just tell you this one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Connecticut. Okay, because that's where I met Andrea at Hampshire College. She used to live in Rowayton. She used to live in Rowayton. That's where I used to go, and it was wonderful. But yeah. So Mel Brooks, I couldn't believe that this young girl took her 7 years to make this film. So he even wrote a song about the film.
Yeah.
But then there's one part that he talks about that his favorite was the ham and cheese sandwich, which was, you're not supposed to have ham and cheese sandwich. It's just so funny when he says that. And he talks about how frugal, that he means cheap, that Rob Reiner was. But he says, and the lemon meringue pie was made by God. You can't get any funnier than that.
That guy is hilarious. I wanted to see it, and it was playing in Connecticut for 2 weekends. That was it. There was a theater called the Avon Theater in Stamford. It's probably an hour away from here. I wanted to go see it. I saw the trailer. It said it looks hilarious, and it ended. So I'm waiting for it to come out into streaming services so I could watch it, because that's a movie that definitely interested. And I had that ready for the end because I know that you are a part of it.
I know. I'm in it twice too. I'm in it twice. I'm in it when I talk about my grandmother. I talk about working there. I talk about being my first job, and when my part comes on, I'm talking about how different it was and how my experience of seeing homeless people for the first time, really, downtown, and how they would take a cup of water and just put ketchup in it, just stretch it out, and that kind of stuff. And sometimes when I first started, I would try to chase them out, but then I realized just leave them be. And it was, so I talk about that. And then I talk about my grandmother being a nickel thrower. And Mel Brooks talks about the magical nickel thrower and how him and his brothers were just fascinated, how she had a big barrel of nickels, and that someday he wished he could have a big barrel of nickels, and how they would just grab the 20 nickels without counting, because she did. She could grab 20 nickels. It was just, she did it for so long. Beautiful Art Deco restaurant, and the machinery, and it was just a magical place. And I'm proud to be in this one, and I got it because of Facebook.
I love it. Facebook has been very good to you. When you're not in the Facebook jail, Facebook has been good to you.
They don't put me in jail. They're very good to me.
There's actually one document.
If I don't post on Facebook, they call my daughter up and wonder if I'm okay.
As Apache,
I run out of ideas, and I won't do anything for a while, and people panic, think something happens, so they start calling. So that's why I try to put something every day.
Oh yeah, well, in the Orphan Nation, I see something at least 2-3 times a day. I see new pictures. I love it, and they're always hilarious. But there's something that I definitely want you to check out. I'm not sure if, and I found this on the walking tour with John Joseph. It's called The Rubble Kings. I don't know if you ever saw it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. It's a
those are the gangs I'm talking about. Those are the gangs that I was used to. So when I saw the Warriors, I was like, get the fuck out of here.
I love that.
those are the exact three people I know. In fact, one of them is on Showtime now, La Madrina. She was the first lady of the Stabbed Skulls, and her life is now on Showtime. You know,
Okay.
the documentary on Showtime, La Madrina, and she's on she's in Orphan Nation, and I finally got to meet her through a mutual friend, because that's why you have to be nice to people, because you'd be surprised how it just turns around, and so knows this person,
Oh, yeah.
and knows this person, and yeah.
Life is all about the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Everybody's connected somehow.
Kevin Bacon. I hear that. I hear that. All right, puppy. It was a good interview.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Anytime you want to do a part two, what's the name of your show?
It's called The Claws Corner, CLAW. Because as you know,
I know the claws thing. I read about you and your claws thing.
Yeah.
The claws.
You know what got me? I got to tell you, I want to say it right here because I've gotten this so many times. I got the nickname The Claw when I was in high school in '86. And so I got into a fight and somebody goes, "Oh, it's the Claw, it's the Claw." So everybody thought it was funny. Then in 1994, somewhere around there, Jim Carrey comes out with a movie. And I think it was Liar, Liar, one of those movies. And he's making fun of the Claw. So everybody was joking, Rich, Jim Carrey's ripping you off. And now everybody's like, "Oh, you're just imitating Jim Carrey." It's like, no. I was the original Claw. I'm the OG. So it stuck with comedy. So I stuck it with comedy. And then when I came out with the podcast, I'm like, how can I correlate and keep it in the same theme? And that's where I came up with the Claws Corner.
The Claws Corner. Okay, so I just wrote it down.
Yep.
Just wrote it down. The Claws
All right. So yeah, you can
see this Apache book. See, that's the famous autograph. See the arrow?
Oh yeah, I love it.
I love that guy. When that guy came in and asked me to do 40 vests, he's like, "Man, your signature pops out, man." I said, "I've been working on that since 7th grade, 6th grade."
You always knew you were going to be a contender, even back then.
And it's funny because when I got there, when I was doing it with Dee Dee from the Lizzies, it was just me and Dee Dee. And Dee Dee and I are a funny pair because she's a vegan and I'm just a pig. And I know I get on her nerves, but she loves me. And the first time we met, it was really strange. It was like Beauty and the Beast. And she goes, trying to make friends. She goes, "Oh, Patchy, would you like a rice? What do you call them? Rice cake with peanut butter?" And I said, "Get the fuck out of here!" And that broke the ice, and everybody started laughing. Now we're good friends, but
yeah.
Like, what? A rice cake and peanut butter? No. Corned beef on rye with mustard.
Yeah. Get me a sheep's head.
We need beef.
Well, Patchy, we definitely have to have a part 2 because I can go on for another 3 hours.
Yeah. I got like my daughter says, I'm the Puerto Rican.
The Forrest Gump, the Puerto Rican Forrest Gump.
Yeah, we haven't even got to Belafonte or
no. Do you want to end with Belafonte?
No, I'll save it for the next.
All right, we're gonna leave a teaser here in the Claws Corner.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on. I dropped my ears. Okay, what'd you say?
No, I was gonna say we're ending this show on a teaser. Coming up soon on Apache Ramos Part 2, the Harry Belafonte story. The story you will not want to miss here on
What a great man. Because it's related to how my daughter got into opera.
Yeah, which I didn't even get a chance to talk about because I know one of the funniest things I heard about your daughter is when she used to be in the clubs or sing, and then they thought it was good luck to give her money because they were gambling. So she would make all this money as a child.
That was from the bars. Okay,
bars,
so
yeah.
That was the Blarney Stone that was downstairs. I worked on 30th and 8th Avenue, and Blarney Stone was right across the street on 30th, between 30th and 31st. Yeah, it's going uptown. And so I would have I would take jazz and bring it to the bar after rehearsals or before rehearsals. And she would sing in Italian to the mob guys in the back, or she would sing any operas in German or different languages. And the gamblers would just love her and throw her money. And I would tell her, "Don't tell mommy." And I would take her to Jack's 99-cent store, and she would just buy up the store. And we had a good thing going there. And she learned some lessons there because I remember one time the bartenders had thick Irish brogues. I think that was a prerequisite to work at the Blarney Stone. And the only time I didn't go there was St. Patty's Day because they raised the prices on St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
But and then the amateur drinkers were there, and it was a mess. But she didn't pay attention, and Pat, of course, his name was Pat, the bartender, took her little pocketbook, and she was so upset, So then he gave it to her. He said, "You never leave your pocketbook. Always watch your things." So she never forgot that. But yeah,
life lesson number one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so she had a different upbringing. She grew up with transsexuals, transvestites. I didn't hide things from my daughter. She learned a lot of things, and it became helpful in life. She just changed her life from a music teacher. She had her own music school, and the virus came, so she had to change her life. And now she's a madame. They call her Madame Court Reporter. She's a court reporter now.
Wow.
Took all the tests, went to school, went back to school, got it all done. I'm pretty proud of her. That girl is too much. And now she's taking care of me. You see?
I love it.
Now she's taking care of me. So that's how it goes.
Yep. No, the circle of life. I love it.
Circle of life, you got it. And I got my grandchildren here, so I'm blessed.
All right. Patchy, it's been great having you on the show. I told you, me, you, John Joseph, we're doing it. We're going to hang out sometime.
I'd like to do a scene with you sometime. That would be fun.
That would be great. I would love to. We're definitely going to keep in touch.
I think we're going to be friends for life.
I think so. Definitely.
Because you're an orphan for life now.
I love it.
I'm sorry, but you are.
Don't be sorry.
All right, brother.
Fuck the Warriors. Fuck the Turnbull ACs. Fuck the Gramercy.
We love our Warriors. We love our Warriors.
We do love the Warriors. So, but orphans forever.
There you go. There you go.
Right. Well, that wraps up the latest episode of The Claws Corner. A huge thanks goes out to actor and producer Apache Ramos for being a guest on the show. I would also like to thank John Bristol for always doing a superb job editing this show and making it available each and every week. And of course, I need to thank you, the viewer, for always tuning in. Enjoy your day, everyone.
We're going to rain on you, Warriors. Good night.
Now available in one collection. Confessions of a Frenetic Mind. 5 tales of blood-curdling terror. Available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
All of a sudden I hear, brim, brim. What's a diaphragm again? Ha! We caught one.
They're supposed to be weird.
Oh, yeah, no. If you say so.
I've always wanted to be in a movie.
Around for all